Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Mitchell's Memories, Part 21. I'm now teaching at Berriman Junior High School in Brooklyn. It's one of the most dangerous, unmanageable schools in New York City. And there was such a problem of violence that the principal decided on the strategy to create a special class. This special class is he took about 12 or 15 of the most violent students in the school, dangerous students, and he put them in one class, and at 9 o'clock they gather and they get them out of the school. There was always one teacher and a policeman, actual policeman, with them to handle them, and they took them out of the school to make it supposedly more safe in the school. Now, this is a story that is both very sad but also very humorous if you want to look at it that way. For example, the first time they took this class to an aquarium, and this special class, and one of the students thought, oh, aquariums, we actually brought a fishing rod with him to the aquarium and actually tried to go fishing in one of the fish tanks. And of course, the authorities were outraged. They threw the whole class out of the school to never come back again. This is outrageous behavior. Okay, next time they took the class to a zoo. And at the zoo, the students saw the elephants and thought it would be funny. They started throwing sticks at the elephants, which caused the elephants to get really upset, almost start to stampede. And again, the whole class was thrown out and they were told never to come back again. Okay, a better idea, they took them to a courtroom in New York City. They wanted to show them what were the repercussions of what would happen if you have criminal behavior. So they took them to a courtroom where a man was on trial for robbery. The man was testifying in court, and as he was testifying, the students came in and they saw there was a coat and a hat, no one there. They stole the coat and the hat and they ran out of the courtroom. Once again, the court system said never come back again. Anyway, this is the special class. But the crazy thing is, many students in the school admired this class and they wanted to be in it because they wanted to get out of the school and have all these adventures. So I remember one student begged to be in the class and they said, well, you don't qualify. So he took a rock and he threw it through a window in the school. And he said, now am I bad enough to be in this class? Anyway, these stories give you an idea of what, as teachers, what we were dealing with in Berriman Junior High School. As for myself, I've had a couple of very scary incidents. Once I was on hall patrol, and a student who was a gang leader, I guess didn't like me, or for whatever reason, he took a slingshot with a paper clip, and he shot it at me when I wasn't looking, and he hit me right in the head, very close, an inch or two from my eye. And I thought, if he had hit me in the eye, I could have lost an eye. And I got very angry. I didn't even think. I just wanted to punch him. And then other teachers broke up our fight. And the next morning I came into school, and I was approaching the school, I was ambushed by gang members. And I know that student set them up. These students weren't from our school, from another school, so I wouldn't recognize them. And they attacked me. I fought them off as best as I could. I punched a couple of them. But then one of them had a big stick, heavy stick, and he smashed me in my back. And then they all ran away. And I was black and blue for many days afterwards. But I soldiered on, and I didn't even take any time off from my teaching. I went back to my class. And there were other dangerous incidents also. So imagine the environment that we were teaching in. As I was teaching a class, that there were no locks on the doors, so gang members who roamed the halls would open the door and yell and scream, and I'd have to throw them out. This is the atmosphere that I was teaching under. And my best moments was I still remember some of my students. There's a boy named Jeffrey Stevenson. He never paid attention, never listened to anything I said. But one day he brought in, he composed a story, and he brought it in as a voluntary assignment, and it was brilliant. It was so full of creativity and life that I praised him. And so after every day he would bring in this amazing original stories. I would make gentle corrections in grammar, but I didn't want to frighten them away. And even then, he started in the classroom. He wouldn't pay attention to the lesson, but he'd write stories. And he just said one example. You have to really think outside the box. There was a student, another student, Cynthia Little, I remember her name. And she also wasn't the best in behavior. But when I spoke to her sometimes, she was absolutely brilliant. And she talked to me about racism. She talked to me about life and her neighborhood. And she had such a passion to make something of herself and to change the world. And I encouraged it. And we had many talks, and she actually wrote stories also. And there were other students, and that's how I reached them. I just wanted to, I wanted them to know that there was someone who cared for them, someone who loved them. I tried to inspire them that they would have a better life. And I wonder now what happened to them. Where are all these students now? Are they alive? Did they prosper? Did they get out of the ghetto? I don't know, but I certainly did my best. But remember, one teacher warned me, if you get too emotionally involved, it's going to affect you negatively. And unfortunately, that's what happened. I began to get burned out. First, I felt it physically. I started to get headaches and colds. Then I had trouble sleeping at night. And then emotionally, I just felt myself under a lot of stress all day and night. And I was going downhill. And one night I had a dream. Remember, I dreamt a lot when I was a little boy. But once I became a teenager, a young adult, I stopped remembering my dreams. But this one, was a nightmare. All night long, I felt tortured, physically tortured, mentally tortured. I felt fear. I felt anguish. I felt worry. I couldn't get it out. I couldn't wake up from this nightmare. And just at dawn, when the light show came up, it switched, and I felt all of a sudden euphoria. I felt such peace like I had never felt before. And I woke up feeling jolly, joyful. And I just had the strongest intuition. I think I even heard a voice, but I knew that my life was going to change into a new direction. Something new was going to happen to me, but I didn't know what. Anyway, I went for my teaching job, came home stressed again, forgot about the dream, went to the laundromat to do my laundry, and there I met a friend. Now, this friend had been telling me, for months about, Mitchell, you should learn meditation, you should learn yoga, you should do fasting. All these things weren't me. I did so far. I said, get out of here. What is all that? It's nonsense. And finally but then I remembered the dream. So I said, and then he told me about that there's an Indian teacher in New York City. I should come and see him that night. So because of that dream, I went and saw the teacher. I didn't know if this was an Indian or a Native American Indian. I didn't know what he taught, but I just went. And I was ushered to the Oliver Cromwell Hotel, went up to the room where the Indian teacher was. I sat down on the carpet, and out of the door comes this about 84-year-old Indian man. He had silver hair and a silver beard. He was very, very impressive. Even though he was old, what I remember most is he moved like a youngster. Not only he moved quickly, but he had such amazing flexibility. He had passion. I never saw an elderly person like that. And I closed he came over to me. He said, I sit down. He told me to close my eyes. He put his hand on my head. He uttered sounds in one ear. He uttered sounds in another ear. He repeated it again. He tapped me on the head, and he walked out. And I don't know what happened. I opened my eyes, and then his assistant, another Indian man, then taught me a breathing and meditation technique, a yoga breathing and meditation technique. And he told me to practice it on my own and see what benefits I would get. But as I left, I had a feeling, yes, this was going to be the beginning of a change in my life. And it was. And I've been practicing yoga and meditation ever since. There's been many twists and turns in my life. But meditation and yoga and breathing has always been a part of my life. And I'll tell you more about that next time. Thank you, everyone. Good evening.